up, guys? This is the voice of Mr. Solution. It's a Saturday morning here, and from my time check, it's exactly 26 minutes before the hour of 10 o'clock. So I want us to collectively look at BTC. Let's just look at it to see what's happening. Everybody, those of you in my Telegram channel can remember that from 43K, I've been telling you guys that I've been a bit reserved on either going long or short. I've actually de-risked. I had taken a huge fraction of my funds off trading. Okay, I closed majority of my positions immediately we entered 43K. So from 43K to this current 44K and 45K, I've just been there. I've just been looking around, not really taking any big steps. So I just want us to look at BTC for us to know what it has in store for us, what we should be doing at this point in time. But please remember that what I'm doing is not in any way intended to serve as a financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. I do not pride myself as one. I am just an analyst. And of course, analysis is just a game of probability. It could go in your favor. It may not go in your favor. So please take whatever information we'll be learning from this channel, take it with a pinch of salt, and understand that your trade is your money. So whatever you do with your money should be 100% your decision, not because of what somebody said, not because of what Mr. Solution said on his channel. All right. So, and before we proceed, please, if you are new to this channel, you're visiting viewer, please, and you've not subscribed, please, I encourage you to kindly hit the subscribe button. I know this sounds like a cliche, but please do that. That's how you're going to help us to defeat this YouTube algorithm of limiting videos and debarring a lot of persons from watching and learning. Please share the video, like, comment. If you have any question, ask, and you want to connect with me on a personal level, the link to all my social media channels will be at the lower section of the video. You can connect with me, ask questions, and we can collectively share ideas. All right, so before us here is BTC, and what we are seeing here is the daily chart. This is the daily chart, and of course I'm using FTS, which is my #1 exchange. If you don't have an account yet, I encourage you to do that. The link for you to register is also at the lower section of this video. Okay, so sign up with FTS, my #1 exchange, the best exchange there is, there will ever be. All right, so BTC 1 hour, the BTC daily chart, and we have this. Generally, when you look at this, and of course, it gives us this vibe of an uptrend, like market has been going up and all that, and we have this upsloping support, this very line that has, make it yellow. Okay, we have this line that has continually served as a support for us, and BTC has actually, anytime it tests it goes up. It tests it goes up. So this place has actually been serving as a support for us. But then there is one particular indicator that helps me to ascertain the general trend of the market. Assuming I don't want to use this line, assuming I don't want to use price action, there is one indicator that helps me to know the general trend of the market, and that indicator is exponential moving average. I bring out my exponential moving average, set it to 200-day exponential moving average. That's actually what I have here. Okay, so once it comes up, it tells me at first glance what is actually happening. Now look at this. Those of you in my channel can remember that I've always talked about this. Now look at this is the exponential moving 200-day exponential moving average, and check what has been happening all this while. It was serving as a support, up onto this very level where the price went below it. Okay, from there, it started serving as a resistance, served as a resistance up onto this very place where the price broke above it, and it started serving as a resistance, as a support, please, served as a support here, the same thing here, and all this while, then we got to this very level, price went lower than that, price dropped below the 200-day exponential moving average. In other words, it started serving as a support. And since it started serving as a support, I want us to see what has been happening. Price got to this very place now. It couldn't go above it, it dropped. Did the same thing here, it couldn't go above it, dropped. Now, it is actually approaching there again. This is where it currently is. And I want us to look at something. As at yesterday, less than 24 hours ago, we saw BTC go above this exponential moving average. We saw BTC go above it. Look at this line, look at this week. But then what happened? What happened is that we didn't close above it. We didn't close above this above this exponential moving above this resistance. We didn't close above, instead we closed lower. But something needs to be seen here. What needs to be seen is that we didn't close bearish, rather we closed bullish. How do I mean by this? Look at the color of this candle. You can see that it's green instead of red. If we are closed bearish, by now we should have gone lower, but then we closed bullish. And the price action so far, nothing huge has occurred. We have just been seeing BTC. It goes to 44, 44, 2, 44, 3, and goes back to 45, and 45K, and the price action has actually been showing some elements of strength. Now, another thing we also need to observe is something. Check out all the YBTC. All the YBTC got to that very place. See the price action that preceded that level. See how the price action was. Immediately it got there, there was a heavy rejection. The same thing here, heavy rejection. The same thing here. This build-up was very huge. It got there, the heavy rejection. It was heavily rejected at this very point. Now, look at this very one now. We've not really seen that rejection. And none of them, these past ones, none of them had been able to go above this exponential, except yesterday's candle where we saw BTC get to 45, 142. Please, what I'm analyzing is BTC perpetuals and not BTC USDT. And what I'm analyzing is BTC perpetuals because yes, I am 100% futures trader. I trade futures basically. So I always get my chart from futures. Okay, so now what is happening here? You can see that the next candle, this is today's candle. Look at today's candle so far. It's still below that exponential moving average. It hasn't gone above it, and then it's still showing some signs of strength. It's still showing some signs of strength. So that's why, as things are now, I'm not really that interested in taking any position. Even if I'm to trade, what I'll be doing now would be to scalp. Okay, I'll have to go to my lower time frame. Okay, just scalp. That's just what I'm doing, while keeping my eyes on the daily, while keeping my eyes glued to what is actually going to happen here. Okay, so that's what we have for the daily chart. So as a daily chart is telling us don't do anything yet. That's what this thing is telling us now. It's saying don't do anything yet. But then if we happen to get something above this resistance, above this 200-day exponential moving average, probably that's why when we can be more we can tilt our bias towards taking a bullish position or longing on anything. So bullish daily chart is telling us don't do anything yet, because this is a very crucial point. This is a very crucial level. So let's go to another time frame. Let's go to the 4-hour to see what the 4-hour time frame is presenting to us. Okay, I'm gonna remove this. Okay, so switch to 4-hour. What is 4-hour? What is the 4-hour chart telling us? Now, look at this 4-hour chart. Firstly, we have this line here. Let me do price action analysis. Let me do price action. Okay, so we have this on the 4-hour chart. We have this. We have this, and then we have these as well. So what would you call this? What would you call this chart pattern? What would you call this chart pattern? What would you call it? Okay, so we have this. Now, chances are that if you eventually get above this 45K, so I'm looking at something of this nature. I'm looking at us getting to see something like this. That's a break above this resistance. So for us to be very sure that this resistance has well been broken, we need to see price get above this level. We need to see price clear this very resistance, this very downsloping resistance. And that's, in other words, we need to see price get to horizontal line. We need to see price get to somewhere around, we need to see price get to somewhere around 46K. Yeah. So if price eventually gets to 46K, so what it means is that to an extent, we should be expecting BTC trend line. We should be expecting BTC. Let me get the arrow. Okay. Where is the arrow? Okay. So we should be expecting BTC to, from here, we should be expecting it to at least be on the minimal side. We should be expecting BTC to get to somewhere around this point. Let me expand it as well. So we should be expecting BTC to get to somewhere around 59, 60K or thereabouts, 59K thereabouts. We should be expecting BTC around that side. I'm not saying that there is no chance of us going above, but then I just want to be, I do not want to exaggerate. I don't want to raise my hopes high. That's the way I do my trading. I just want to, limit the expectation lower, so that if eventually I see it higher, fine. But if I don't see it higher, I won't be disappointed. So if I was to take this trade, or let's say I see BTC get to 46K expectedly, I know that nothing is actually stopping us from getting to 59K or thereabout. But then before we get to 59K, firstly, we need to clear 52K. Then after that 52K, we can now start talking of the 59K region. Okay, so this is what is happening here. So on the 4-hour, we are still getting this vibe of do nothing. We are still getting this vibe of do nothing until look at, please follow this thin broken line, horizontal line. So until you see BTC probably get to somewhere around 46K, then we can be very, very much certain in our hearts that BTC is ready for bullish moves. But so far, I would just want to bring this thing closer. Remember that what we are analyzing with here is the 4-hour chart. Now look at what's happened here. Let me zoom it so that we can all see it very well. Look at what happened there. We see BTC get to BTC closing above, you actually went above that downsloping resistance. This yellow line, this huge, this thick yellow line, that's the one I mean by the downsloping resistance. You see BTC gets above it, but then on this 4-hour, you can see that it didn't close above it. It didn't close above it. Instead, it closed lower. That's bearish. But then all this why? This is price action. See, look at the price action. I remember one of the videos I shared with us how to trade breakouts. One of the things I told us is that for you to be sure that a breakout is a strong one, you need to see a build up at that area of value. Now, this down sloping resistance is actually an area of value, and now there is actually a build up. We haven't seen that breakout yet. Now, this very candle that is forming is actually red, is actually bearish. Okay, so as it stands now on the 4-hour, if you are trading on the 4-hour time frame, or if I'm to trade on the 4-hour, I will rightly say that BTC is still at a do nothing region. We haven't seen it close above this upsloping resistance, not even to talk of getting to 46K. So it hasn't closed above this upsloping resistance, and this is what price is doing. Okay, so if after this behavior now, if after this price action that BTC is showing, and then it doesn't close above it, and let's say I see something like I see BTC gets to, I see BTC fall to somewhere around this region. Let me expand it as well. Let's say I see BTC get to somewhere around there. Maybe it didn't close above this, it didn't close above this downsloping resistance we talked about. And then I see BTC get to somewhere around, fall to somewhere around 43K. Obviously, I am shorting these markets. Obviously, once I see BTC get to 43,500, I am shorting this market. I am shorting it. And if I short, what should I be expecting? Of course, I'm always very minimal in my expectation. So I should be looking at taking my profit around 41K, 41.5, 41K, just as it progresses. So if I see BTC get to 43.5, I am shorting this market. And if I'm shorting it, where would I be putting my stop loss? Of course, I'll be putting it a bit above that downsloping resistance, maybe somewhere around 45K. I'll be putting around 45K3, and then I'll be taking my profit around 41.5 or 41.6 or thereabouts. So this is what the 4-hour is telling us. It's telling us that BTC is still at a do nothing zone. It's still at a do nothing region. So nothing is to be done now until either it goes above, it closes above this downsloping resistance. Remember, I said closing, not going above, closing above this downsloping resistance, or falling below 43.5. That's if you above this, I'm longing, below this, I'm shorting. Okay, so that's what the 4-hour presents to us. Now we go to another lower time frame. We go to 1-hour time frame. Okay, so let's go to 1-hour time frame to see what the chart is showing us, to see what the chart is presenting to us. We get switching to 1 hour. So let me move to 1 hour time frame. So we have the 1 hour. I want to remove this ones I drew before. Remove this ones. Okay, so this is a 1 hour chart. This is a 1 hour chart. And what is 1 hour presenting to us? Almost the same thing as the 4 hour chart did. So for the 1 hour, we have this here. Of course, almost the same thing that the 4 hour showed us. But then this, in this case, is a bit, the values are a bit closer. Okay, so we have this here. Now let's look at something. I want to show us something. I want us to see something now. Now, just focus on this very line, this very yellow line. This is actually a support. Okay, it's been playing the role of a support all along. So focusing on it, see what is happening. Okay, so supported price here, supported it here, supported it all through here, and now it hasn't gotten down to that zone again. It hasn't actually gotten to the support. It hasn't fallen to the support again. Now, of course, for any support, there should be a resistance. So where is the resistance? Let's look at where the resistance is now to see what is available. Okay, so we have this resistance here, almost the same thing as we saw on the 4 hour chart. This is 1 hour. Okay, so let me expand it as well. All right, so this is the 1 hour chart. We have this here. Okay, we have this one. This is called a fake out. This is called a fake out because immediately it faked out, it got rejected and it went back into this. It went back to the support region. So it is a fake out. So it's negligible. That's why I actually drew this above it. So it's negligible. It's a fake out. It doesn't really matter. Now look at what is presented to us. Look at this 4 hour chart, and you can see that there is still that build up I talked about. You can see this build up around there. This is the build-up I talked about. There is this build-up occurring here. In other words, that the price action has actually been favoring the upper region. Activities have been occurring more in this upper region. This is the price action I mean. This is what I mean by price action. Look at what's been happening. You can see that activities have been favoring the upper value of the chart. Okay, it's been things have actually been happening here, meaning that momentum looks like it's gonna go on the upper side. It's gonna go. Please, this is a probable case. It's not certain, but I'm just saying that based on what I've known so far, based on what I've learned so far about the market, that this thing is favoring, activity is favoring more on the upper region, meaning that there is a chance we break out. There is a chance. I'm not saying we break out. There is a chance we break out of this downsloping resistance and probably start shooting up. But then one thing needs to be in our minds, and that thing is that this is a weekend, this is Saturday, and that on Saturdays, many hedge fund traders, many firms, they don't do any activity. So expectedly, the volume the volume normally decreases on weekends. Okay, so there is actually usually a reduction in the volume of coins general across board all weekends. So there is usually less activity. So it's possible for us to keep getting this price action here until a huge move comes in. So far, what you should be doing now would just be for you to scalp. Please don't expect anything huge. Just open your mind, whatever you see, whatever the chart presents, excuse me, that's what you should trade. Okay, so for the 1 hour chart, the price action is favoring the upper region, and whatever you decide to do is 100% your. Yeah, and from the 1 hour, we switched to the last time frame, which we'll be analyzing, which is what 15 minutes. That's my favorite time frame for scalping. Actually, I am 100% a scalper. Okay, so 15-minute time frame. That's anytime I want to take my trade. 15 minutes. It's usually my most preferred time frame for entering any trade. So we've looked at the daily. We've looked at 4 hours. We've looked at 1 hour, and finally we saw what we observed what price was doing, is actually doing at those price values. And now let's say I want to take a trade. I would have to come down to 15-minute time frames. 15-minute time frame that tells me where to enter and where to exit. The higher time frame those higher time frames, they give me a projected view of what is at stake. Now 15-minute time frame is where I decide whether to go in, and if I'm going in, where should I be looking at getting out? Okay, so the 15 minutes time frame is what we have here, which will be the final time frame we'll be analyzing this morning. Okay, so of course we have our trend line like this. We have this trend line here, just as we have in the 1 hour. Okay, just as 1 hour presents to us, we have this trend line that has supported as the upsloping support, that has served as an upsloping support for us. And then there's another one too. We equally have this one that has served as a resistance for us. It has served as a resistance for us. And, you know, okay, we have this here. So far, we've seen price, well, the price has actually been inside this channel all along, starting from wherever it was it began. You see price from here. Okay, you can still as well extend this. It doesn't matter. Can as well extend it. So you see price has actually been inside this channel. It goes up, hits resistance, comes down again, hits resistance, taps support, goes up, support, goes up. Now it's actually it hits this resistance, comes down again. Now it's actually at the middle of the range. This is the middle, is actually at the midpoint of the range. Now something else is obvious. Okay, there is another thing I'm seeing here. I have this, we can have trend inside. It's what we call channel inside channel, or trend inside trend. So we have this is the bigger picture. Now we have another picture here, which is this. We have another picture, that's trend inside trend. This is what we call a trend inside a trend. Okay, we had that bigger one, and then we're having this smaller one here. We have this smaller one here. Okay, so what it means is that if this price gets above this, let me change this color so it doesn't confuse us, gets above, let me change it to green. Okay, or change it to this color, purple. Okay, change it to purple. Okay, so this is the bigger trend. Now we have another smaller trend, which is called trend inside trend. So if price actually goes above this is the resistance, then you can decide to go long. And if price goes lower, you can decide to short. Do you get? Let me, I don't know why the support went off. The bigger support went off. So let me get there. Let me get to the support level back. Okay, we have this. Have this, change it to yellow. I'm bolding it. Okay, so we have this as well. We have this. So what this means is that for this place, if price eventually goes above this place, this resistance, you can long. And if you're longing, you should be looking at taking profit around 43, 45, 3, 45, 250 or whatever. Then if price goes lower than this place, you'll be looking at shorting. And if you're shorting, you'll be taking your profit, let's say around 43K, maybe 43K, 41. That's very value. Okay, so this is what is happening here. So 15 minutes time frame, what is this telling us? It's telling us do nothing. So we are still at do nothing on the 15 minutes time frame. So generally, I don't know, but for me, I will just tell you guys to chill. So you've seen the various values we have so far, from the daily chart to the 15-minute time frame. Even the 15-minute time frame is saying do nothing. So sometimes the best thing to do is to do nothing. Not trading is actually part of trading. Being flat is also part of trading. So you want to take action when you, at least to an extent, let's say 70 or 80% certain of what should be expecting, or what the end result should be. You don't want to take risk unnecessarily, so that blind luck will meet you. No, we in trading, we don't have anything to do with blind luck. You don't need blind luck. You need a well calculated move, so that if actually works out, or if it doesn't work out, you know that at least you had some things, you had some convictions before you decide to take that action. So right now, BTC, we've seen that from the daily chart to the 15-minute time frame, is still at do nothing. do nothing zone. Nothing should be done. Just, give it time. We've seen what we'll be expecting at this 15-minute time frame. If it goes up, be long. And if you see BTC going above this place, so what it means is that those are your favorite altcoins. You could decide to, open up long positions on them. Now, if you see BTC going down, going lower, going below this support, what it means is that those altcoins, there are some coins that whenever BTC drops a little, you see them dumping heavily. So those ones that, but by now you must have known them, keep your eyes on them and keep your eyes on BTC. Once BTC shows an element of bearishness, go right ahead and short those coins that, drops heavily whenever BTC is bearish. And then those coins that pump heavily, whenever you see BTC going bullish, keep your eyes on them. So that once BTC crosses, this very, maybe gets to 44.6, 44.7, you can decide to open a long position on them. That's the best way to trade. That's how to trade. That's how to navigate these waters. All right, guys. So I hope with these few points of mine, I have been able to convince you and not to confuse you that, BTC is actually at a do nothing region. You don't need to stress yourself. You don't need to throw your money unnecessarily. You don't need to take risk that is not well calculated. You need to do something to an extent you can beat yourself and say, you beat your chest and say, yeah, I did this because of this. You need to have a reason for any trading decision you're taking, any trading action you're taking. You need to have a strong conviction, okay, so that if anybody asks, you can rightly say, okay, this is what I saw. This was what I saw that made me do this, or this is why I did what I did. Right now, BTC is not really giving us any reason to do anything in the market. So have fun. It's a weekend. Take your time off the chat, do some other things, have fun with your loved ones, do other things, help people, community service, do anything you can, just to make sure you don't get overtly and persuaded into taking any action, whereas BTC is telling you don't do anything. All right, guys, still I come your way again. I remain your man, Mr. X to the O to the L to the U to the Sean, Mr. Solution.